Can somebody please put a muzzle on this one right here? Because when I tell you I cannot, I cannot. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel Reviewed, where we talk about all things television and film from today and yesteryear. So today I wanted to come on here and do a brief recap of Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 8. Y'all, this was a good episode to me, okay? However, the last 2 minutes of this episode literally made me forget about everything else that happened because when I tell you Shauna is a freaking savage, she is a savage. I do not like this lady, okay? I do not like Shauna. I tried to see it for her as an adult, but honey, this episode right here, I don't like her. I don't like her as a teenager. I do not like her as an adult. I do not like her on a train. I don't like her on a plane. I do not like her on a car. I do not like her at the bar. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like Shauna Sam. I am. Okay. So the episode opens up with Shauna. She's working at this grocery store that is seemingly isolated. And so she's just scanning the packages of food, right? And Jackie walks up. And so she's looking at Jackie like, oh, what are you doing here? And Jackie's like, of course I'm not supposed to be here because, you sent me to be with the Grim Reaper. So she's bringing up these packages of food and they turn out to be body parts, like anything that you could think of, a hand, a foot, a leg, and all that good stuff. So they're having a conversation and Jackie ends up calling Shauna by a nickname. And Shauna was like, don't call me that. I can't stand that name. And she was like, Jackie was like, since when? And Shauna was like, since forever. She basically was like, she used to just tolerate it because, it is what it is. So they're having this conversation and they end up hearing these noise in the light fixture in the grocery store. So Shauna looks up and she sees, all these moths. I'm assuming that's what they are, and they start to form into the light fixture in the grocery store. And then, of course, we get a flash of the adult Shauna sleeping in the car. So Shauna gets out of the car and she goes into the home of Hannah's daughter. So she's walking through the house or whatever, looking around like she lived there, and she ends up hearing some voices. So she goes into the pantry in the kitchen to hide out. So she's standing there, on guard, got a knife in her hand or whatever, and she's peeping through the pantry door, watching Hannah's daughter talk to the little girl. And then another woman ends up coming into the kitchen and we see them kiss each other goodbye. And so once Hannah's daughter and the little girl leave out of the house, honey, old girl turns around in front of the pantry door. She's like, I don't know who you are or what you're doing in my house, but you need to come up out of there right now. She basically was letting her know, she said, you came into the wrong house. You don't know who you messing with. So back at the hospital, the doctor basically lets Thaisa know that there is not much more that they are going to be able to do for Van. And Thaisa's like, well, what do you mean? Do I need to transfer her to another hospital? Are y'all not equipped to, handle her situation? And the lady was like, no, you need to think about hospice care. Like that is the point that she's at. And of course, Thaisa's like, absolutely not. No way. So, the doctor leaves and she's there talking to Misty, and Misty's just basically letting Tyson know, hey, if they're telling you that she needs hospice, you need to prepare. And Ty is like, no, no, that's not an option. Van is not leaving me. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. And Misty's like, well, what can you do if they're telling you that she's basically going to be up out of here? You want to make her as comfortable as possible. And of course, Thais was like, we're going to find the palliative care unit, aka hospice unit of the hospital. So we already know what her intent is. We already know what Thaisa is thinking about doing in order to save Van. So, honey, Shauna is shocked to see her old boo thing. I think she calls herself Melissa now. So they are like, both of them still yielding their knives at each other. Like, she not putting her knife down, Shauna not putting her knife down. And, she was like, Shauna says to her, she's like, I thought you was unalive. Like, we went to your funeral and everything. And the girl was like, well, I figured if I fake my own unaliving, then, that would keep people off my trail or whatever. So this chick is married to Hannah's daughter. Okay, like how crazy is that? She is married to Hannah's daughter. She said that she did send the tape to Shauna because she did not want her wife to find out about the tape and to know exactly who she was. And so Shauna's like, girl, why you put me in it? Like, I'm over here living my life. Here you are living your life. Like, why would you send that tape to me? So And then Shauna is also like, how did you even track down her daughter? And then not only that, you done turned around and married her and now y'all have a kid together. Like, girl, how crazy is that? Indeed, it is. So Travis and Akila, they are, with the guide, right? And they are literally, Travis mainly, they are thinking about going along with the guide and leaving the rest of the Yellow Jackets in the wilderness. And basically, like, we'll just send help for them. We need to make sure that we get up out of here. And Akila, she's kind of side eyeing him, like, why would you do that? Like, why would we just go without them? And, Travis is explaining his case. So he and Akila exchange words, right? And he opens up to her and basically lets her know, look, the vision that you had is a bunch of trash, even though we know it wasn't. It was a hallucination due to the gas. Anyway, he basically lets Tequila know the only reason why Lottie chose you is because I lied. I did not have a vision. No one told me that you were the next person up. I was just tired of Lottie shoving that mess down my throat, making me have all these hallucinations, trying to figure out what is going on. So he finally admits that he's the culprit behind what Lottie is basically pushing up on her, which of course we already knew. So Akila's like, okay, like, you know, she's taken aback. However, she is not stupid. She starts to take pieces of her clothing off and leave them as a trail, almost like context clues. Now, what threw me off is, how did Misty know that she was leaving clues? That threw me off because, mind you, Misty, she slept in the wilderness forest by herself at night, honey, because she lost her glasses. So she wake up, finds her glasses or whatever, and she starts seeing the pieces of clothing that Akila was leaving behind. I'm just curious as to how she knew Akila would be doing that. Nonetheless, again, Travis is hell bent on leaving with the guide and sending someone else, out there to the wilderness to get the rest of the crew. So all the girls are standing around Hannah, just looking at her like she done fell from outer space and asking her all these questions.
What day is it? Can you get us out? Did Mulder and Scully get together? Everyone, shut up!
So Hannah is sitting there. She's trying to answer as many questions as she can, and it doesn't seem like it's clicking who they are at first, right? Then she kind of gets it. She understands that these were the kids who went down in the plane or whatever. And so they ask her, how much time has passed. And I don't recall her saying what the time frame was, but she did let them know that people were no longer looking for them. Like, they pretty much had given up. And, some of them, Ty and everybody else, like, wow, they can't believe that their family or whatever just basically not looking for them anymore. So Hannah, she's looking around. She's like, you all built all this stuff, the huts and things like that. And they're asking her, like, well, what are you doing here? How did you get down here? And she said, well, we were here looking for those certain species of frogs. And she was like, you guys may have heard them, when they're mating. And like I said last week, when those frogs were making that noise, it sounded a lot like the wilderness, when we would hear what we thought was the wilderness talking to them. That sound that those frogs made. And so when she made that statement, that confirmed it for me, that one of the many sounds that they were hearing in the wilderness was not the actual trees speaking, it was those freaking frogs. Okay. So, you know, she is just baffled at the situation, and to see them there and that they've been, there the whole time, Hannah is. And, you know, they're like, well, you're taking us with you. You're going to show us how to get up out of here. We're ready to go home. And Hannah was like, well, I'm not the one. I don't know my way through these woods. I'm not familiar with this stuff. She was like, the guide was the one who was guiding her and her partner. She was like, he would be the person who would know how to maneuver through these trees in this area and get us up out of here. And so she starts to ask questions, a couple of questions herself.
Are you like the captain of the team?
So Shauna and Natalie have a bit of a back and forth after, Hannah asks who's in charge, because quiet as it's kept, at this point, nobody is in charge. Okay. So, honey, Shauna is still conversing with her old boo thing. And Melissa is basically letting Shauna know that she live a normal life. She's like, girl, I got a job, I got a child, I got a wife. Like, it is what it is. My life is boring. I like it like this. I'm not trying to get involved with none of that stuff that you are coming up here with. And, Shauna, she is basically giving Melissa the rundown of everything that happened. And of course, she is shocked. Melissa is shocked to find out that Lottie was, unalived or whatever. And she is basically let Shauna know, look, I sent you the tape, but that's as far as it go. I don't have nothing else to do with what you're telling me. Like, you can go away from me with this. Like, I have nothing to do with this. Shauna is placing blame on everybody because she absolutely has no clue who the culprit is. From the cell phone to the brake line, it's like she absolutely does not know. And the fact that she is scrambling to try to figure it out, she wants to place blame on everybody. Now, granted, the girl Melissa then faked her own passing. They didn't have a funeral for her and everything. So who's to say that she can be trusted? But I guess only time will tell, because this is our first time laying eyes on Melissa as an adult. You know what I'm saying? So we really do not know what she's capable of or what her involvement could possibly be in this whole mess. So again, Misty ends up going back to the main area and she goes and gets the girls and they go looking for Travis, Akila, and the guide. Again, how Misty knew Akila was going to be leaving Blue's Clues, I have no idea. Nonetheless, they end up rounding the guy up and they force him to go back to the main area with them. So they get the guy back to the main site. They got him tied up to Hannah and they start asking him questions. And they're basically trying to figure out how long is it going to take for them to get to the rescue area, for them to get the heck up out of there. And he tells them it's going to be 6 days. So Natalie is like, hey, y'all, we need to get as much supplies, food, water for 6 days because we about to be up out of here. So everybody is energized. They're excited. They're, about to go start packing up stuff. And here come Lottie telling them that, no, this is not right. This is not how it's supposed to be. Like, girl, when is it ever going to be right? If you leave it up to Lottie, they never would have left the wilderness ever. So back at the hospital, honey, they are on the hospice wing. And of course, Ty is doing her thing. She was like, look, read his chart, because Misty is a nurse. She's like, read his chart and tell me how much time does he have. And Misty was like, he has some type of congestive heart failure. He's going to be up out of there soon. And so Thaisa decides to go ahead and send him along his way. So Thaisa walks up in the room, honey. She grabs the pillow and she tells Misty, you don't have to watch this. You can leave out. I got this. Like, girl, I don't need you for this. Honey, Thaisa puts the pillow over the man's face and it does not go her way. Okay. So the idea of going home is starting to trickle down in some of their thought process. So Mari is up here drinking her water, watching Hannah and the guide dig a burial for Mr. Child. And so she looks at her hand again, and it looks like a Slurpee. So, I think the excitement of them getting ready to go home is one, they're having thoughts of what they cannot wait to do once they get there. And here we have Misty thinking about what she can't wait to do, honey, and that's sit on a toilet and touch some actual tissue, child. And then we go to Van where she kind of like lays out on this bed of pillows, soft, cushy white pillows. And then, of course, she comes to reality and realizes that they are still currently in the wilderness, but that is something she's looking forward to. And of course, Ty, she is starting to have reservations. So Ty is a little hesitant. She's like, she says to Van, what if we can't be together when we get home? And Van is like, huh? And she's like, what if things haven't changed? What if things are still the same and we can't be together? And I'm like, girl, you need to worry about that once you touch down back home. Like, you are worried about whether you and Van can be together. You need to be concerned about taking a shower and some shampoo and conditioner into that head of yours. Like, miss me with it. Even Van is like, girl, you worried about the wrong thing. Can we just please get up out of here first? Like, girl, go away from me with this. Okay. So Shauna, she's in her hut packing up her stuff and her boo thing. She's in her feelings because she was like, you left me after I got hit with that arrow. You just basically was dismissive. And Shauna was like, no, I told them if anything happened to you, I was going to take care of them. She said, I wanted to make sure you was good. I was just looking out for you. And I wanted to make sure you was okay. So once she sweet talked her little boo thing, honey, old girl is just like, oh my God, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I get home. I can't wait. That means I get to apply to colleges. I get to do this and that third. And she's all excited. Meanwhile, she's talking to Shauna and Shauna gets distracted yet again by moths. So, honey, Jeff and Callie are still at the hotel. They end up running into the businessman that Jeff wanted to do business with. And, Misty ends up calling Jeff early on in the episode, asking him, had he heard from Shauna? She basically lets him know that Shauna left them stranded at the hospital. Jeff was like, "What you mean a hospital?" She's like, "That's not important. That's something that can be discussed later. If you talk to Shauna, can you please let her know that she needs to come back? What she did was trifling wrong, whatever." So Jeff and Callie are trying to figure out what is going on because they have been blowing Shauna's phone up too. They have no idea where she is. And at this point, she is still at Miss Melissa's house talking to Melissa. So Jeff, he gets so frustrated. He's so angry. But ultimately, they decide to leave the hotel. He was like, if she going to be out doing her thing, running in the streets, then why do we have to be hell bent up in this hotel hiding from people if she's not hiding? So they end up checking out of the hotel. So Akila ends up having this vision where it seems like all of the little plants and things like that in her little space, her little garden, have begun to rot. She also walks over into the animal pen and she notices that all of the animals are unalived and she starts to freak out. So Akila's freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? And Lottie ends up walking over and Lottie, she's like, hey, what's going on? And she looks up at Lottie. And when Akila looks back down, she sees that the animals are fine. They're alive and everything seems normal. I am trying to figure out what is going on here. Like, why are some of the girls having, great thoughts and excitement about going home. But now we see the stuff going on with Ty, Shauna, and Akila. They're experiencing some negativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, do Akila feel like if she go home that the animals are not going to survive? Like, girl, you found them in the wilderness. They will thrive in the wilderness. Like, you staying there is not going to change the outcome of what ultimately is going to happen to those animals. I don't understand why they're doing this. Like, clearly we know that they end up leaving because we see them as adults. We haven't seen everybody, but we know that these women survive. So, what is the point of keeping them there? What is the point? So, I don't know what's going to happen, but honey, what I do know is Thaisa got some issues. Okay.
Please, I need to see her. I need to be with her. Let me in. I can't. I'm the only one that can help her. You won't do what needs to be done. You never did believe.
Please.
I believe. Please.
So everyone is packed and ready to go. And they are getting ready to hit the road. And here come Lottie. She's letting them know she's not going. She just doesn't have a good feeling about it. She's going to stay there in the wilderness. And Natalie's like, girl, are you effing kidding me? Like, we don't have time for this. Like, we are trying to get up out of here. We've been wanting to be rescued. And now we had an opportunity. And here you go with your foolery telling us that you're about to stand here. And Natalie's like, all right, then do what you want to do. Bye. And so once everyone is like, okay, you can stay, Lottie, it is what it is. Here comes Shauna. Shauna decides that she want to stay in the wilderness with Lottie. And of course, everybody's like, okay, now come on, what is really going on? And that was like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all are really trying to make this a difficult situation and it shouldn't even be one. And just when you think things are not going to get worse, here come Thaisa. So Ty basically says, look, I'm not leaving. The same feeling Shauna and Lottie have been getting, I've been having that same feeling too, especially since them two people right there showed up. So she's making it seem like since Hannah and the guy have popped up, things have been feeling really crazy. And so Van is like, girl, who cares? When does that stuff matter? Like, none of this mess matters. You need to pick your bags up and come on. You are coming with us. You are not staying here. Like, make it make sense. Like, for real. I mean, what is going on? This absolutely makes no sense. We already know that the wilderness has a hold on Lottie because Lottie ain't never been all the way there in the first place. But the fact that Shauna, which I could care less, and now Ty are tied to this place, it just behooves me. Like, what are y'all doing? It is so annoying. And I hope that this is not the outcome. I hope they all go home. Like, I cannot see them staying there when this whole time they have been waiting for people to find them. And just because those two people make you feel away, of course they make you feel away. You've been stuck in this forest for how long? You think that the freaking trees and everything else talk to you like, girl, it's annoying. It is so annoying. I have no idea what is going to happen. And I just don't understand why it is happening this way. Like, they all should be on team go home, period. And so here we are with Melissa and Hannah getting into a physical altercation. Is the audacity for me. Shauna is a sociopath. She does not care. Like, she clearly has been and will always be in survivor mode. Like, the wilderness really did a number on her, understandably so. But the fact that you, ma'am, you bit into this woman's flesh and pulled it out from between your teeth and told her to eat it. This, let me tell y'all something. Between the cannibalism on this show and the incest on White Lotus 300, it's sending me. TV is sending me right now. Like, I cannot believe she bit into that woman's flesh like that. Like, girl, mind you, Melissa got one in on Shauna. She had butter on her nose as she should have, because Shauna is out of control. Now I understand what Melissa said when she was like, "You scare me." She told Shauna that she scared her, and now we see why. You this Oh my gosh, I the way she had that flesh between her teeth, I was like, she is a freaking savage beast. This show is ridiculous. And I don't necessarily mean that in the best way, because I'm telling you, this right here took me out. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I have no idea what the outcome is going to be in reference to this whole scenario and situation. Like, her, oh my gosh, I hope her wife and daughter do not come in. And because I'm like, oh my gosh, that y'all, I'm literally speechless when I think about that scene, because it was just completely, it was crazy, completely unhinged. Like, Shauna is, she's disgusting. Something is wrong with her. Like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what the next episode is going to be about, but I guess we shall see. We shall see. Well, that's all I have for you guys in this video today. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.